Wait, hold on. Let me finish.
No, let me finish.
Welcome to Let Me Finish, the weekly podcast where we discuss what the hell's going on in pop culture, current events, and everything else in between.
We are your hosts. I'm Janice.
I'm Stacy.
And I'm Jillian. Grab a glass of wine and let's get started.
14
16.
Oh,
Girl.
my bad. Y'all, I'm losing track. We take off 1 week and I lose track of what episode. I'm sorry. Episode 16 of Let Me Finish.
Our credit.
I'm your host, Jillian.
I'm Janice.
I'm Stacy.
All right. So we took a week off last week. We had a lot of stuff going on. So we apologize for that. We just had to take a quick break so we can take care of some business. And now we're back. Let's talk about what we did this past 2 weeks.
The last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Well, I was a bona fide mover on last week, Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bona fide mover, y'all.
Yeah, so we had to, we went a little bit of shopping in Stacy's house for stuff that she's getting rid of. So we were able to come up with some excellent pieces, and so we had to haul some stuff around. Stacy's pretty much moved in.
Yeah, I'm officially moved in.
Yeah, so she's
We're actually recording at her new house. It's so beautiful.
yes, very
Thank
beautiful. So that was a pretty big thing, and then everything else, I'm still chugging along. Work, I'm getting back into the routine of my workouts, which I'm really excited about. I feel like having that time off, I really struggled in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm getting better. I'm getting better at planks and all that stuff. I did a lot of upper body work this week. So
You're getting your strength back.
yeah, absolutely. And then we went and saw.
Oh, that's the book that I talked to you guys about
y'all
a couple
went?
weeks.
We went to see Beautiful Disaster.
Beautiful Disaster. It was so cute.
I loved it. I was just like, and because I hadn't read the book.
Was it true to the book though, or?
I can't remember.
So actually the beginning, because I actually reread the book. So the beginning of it was very much true to the book and very quotable, a lot of quotes from the book. The end, they combined 3 different events in the book in the end.
Okay.
So, but they just didn't have time to go over it all, I guess. So they couldn't really, it was only
Go
an
into detail.
hour and 50-minute movie. So, and the book had so many big things, so they just combined them.
Okay.
But I mean, the ending was different, but it was still good. It was still good, and it made me actually go back and read. Now I'm actually reading Beautiful Wedding.
Oh.
And then I'm going to read Walking Disaster, and then I'm going to read Almost Beautiful.
Okay.
Oh, and there's this book. Okay, so Stacy,
What?
there's this book. It's called Perfect Addiction.
Okay.
And it's the Perfect series.
Okay.
So I actually feel like we should all read it
And talk about it.
and talk about it.
How
because
many books in the series?
so I think it's 4.
Okay.
And Beautiful Addiction is actually a movie now on Vudu.
Wait. So which one is the first book?
Is that
So
one?
the first, hold on, I have to
I
look
need
it
to
up.
read- I need to go
Let me
read
look it
this
up.
book.
The Perfect series, because I was like, okay, well, because the commercial for the movie looks so good. And then I went and I said, but it looks kind of like a book. And then sure enough,
Is that with the MMA
Yes.
fighters? Okay. Okay.
I don't think all of them are MMA, but I know Perfect Edition is about an MMA fighter. So the concept of the book and the movie is that the girl is an MMA trainer, and
I think I've read this book.
the
But go
guy.
ahead.
Really? Okay,
When
and
you
then
said
the
MMA trainer,
but I
I'm
have,
like-
but no,
There's a
because
lot of
I've read a
MMA.
lot of MMA books.
I went through
but
my
this one
whole
in
MMA,
particular. So the synopsis is, she's an MMA trainer. She's in love with one of the top MMA guys, and she
has a
lives.
kid?
She lives with her sister. No,
Oh, okay.
no, she lives with her sister. So then she walks in, and her sister and the guy
God.
are together.
Okay, now I
and then
have-
his rival is number 2, I guess. His rival. She starts to train him because she needs somewhere to live because she moves out, and then they slowly fall in love.
Okay, good. I'm down.
Okay.
I'm down so we can read the book and then watch the movie. I love that.
So the first, hold on, Claudia Tan is the author's name, and the first book is called Perfect Illusion.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, there's a 1.5, which is Perfect Ruin, then Perfect Addiction, then Perfect Redemption, and Perfect Christmas.
Oh, you coming out that sweatshirt? The wine got to you?
yeah, it's getting hot.
I already took off my
It
jacket.
is a little warm in here, but they have the heat on. But I think because we're drinking.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
it's that too.
'Cause
I
we
mean,
actually
even
had,
though
like-
it's not that much.
What do we have,
not that much.
2 or 3 before we even started?
Yeah.
But yeah, so y'all read. So I think we can start reading the
so I'll
books.
start reading the
So
books.
should we start with Perfect Addiction first, or should we go with Perfect Illusion?
Whichever
the
one
first
is
one.
the movie's based off of, because I like to read the book
Oh,
then watch
okay.
the movie,
Well, then just
or
whichever
just
one.
or read all the books.
Well, we
and
can
then-
read all the books. I bet they're short reads. You know, we all read fast.
If it's
Yeah.
a continuation of the same couple, then all the books.
I think it's all different couples.
then
just the one that the movie's based on.
So let's just read Perfect Addiction 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Let's schedule to read that in the month of May.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. But yeah, so we had a really great time. We went with Ashley, and like I said, it's been such a long time since I've read the book that I kind of forgot what it was about. But then once I got into the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that, and just certain things that he would do. And so, and I said this before, I get that book confused with another book,
Thoughtless.
but that guy is in a rock band.
I
He's a
love
guitar player.
I
Kellen.
love
Kellen, my baby.
Yes.
Kellen Kyle.
Yes.
Kyle, that's my
yeah. So I
baby.
kind
You know
of
what I think is so funny? I hate to cut you off, Joel, but so I'm a reader and I have been reading my whole life. I started reading when I was 13, books I shouldn't have read ever. But
I think one time
Erotica.
yeah.
What is it's a
Wait.
guy pen name, and somebody told me about it, and I'm just like, it's a black guy and he does a lot of romance novels based off black people of color.
Eric Jerome Dickey.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I read all them books.
Stacy actually gave me some of the books to read.
Wait, so, and I've been reading, I love to read. I can read multiple books in one day if I don't have anything to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just love reading that much. And I love the Thoughtless series with Kellen Kyle. And I'm a whole grown ass adult.
Yeah.
And they're like younger. And
I
Young
actually
adult.
don't
But-
feel like those books are as young as they come across.
well,
because they have a lot
they
of great character development.
But what
Yeah.
I think is so funny is like my oldest daughter, she's 24 now, and she did not like to read. But I remember I'm like, just try
it.
some of these books. And she read that.
She read Thoughtless
She
first.
read the Thoughtless series. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, this girl got her Kindle. She all up in my Kindle, getting all my books. I'm like, well, hold
Because
on,
once you
hold on.
once you find your genre,
I'm like, hold
or
on.
your
now.
niche.
Some of these books are a bit much.
Yeah.
I wanna read it.
yeah, some of the books Stacey has
I
read
have
is a bit
I have
much.
some
Yeah,
stuff in
she's
I
described
got
some
stuff
books.
in my Kindle. I'm like,
I'd be like, wait a minute. That's the thing. I have a Nook, so I keep all my smut books on my Kindle, and I
Your
like the
smut
other
books.
Yeah, I call them I like them my little more edgier.
They're just romantic novels. That's what they're called in the section
Denise.
at Barnes and Noble.
so it's just funny.
it's definitely not what our mother reads. What is her?
I don't
Catherine
know.
Anderson.
I don't know, baby, because Mommy even gave me some books where I was like,
Some of her books that she
Hold
writes
up.
are good, but I'm really
and
like,
she's come behind me. Lori Foster. Her books are good, and I wouldn't call them small. They're definitely romance novels. They definitely have some intense scenes. Mommy was eating them books up.
Hold up. You know what I hate about her books?
Who's?
On Jennifer's books.
Catherine Anderson. Ugh.
I'm reading those books and I'm like flip. I'm like,
Where is the sexy stuff?
When are they gonna get to it? At the end of the, I'm like, oh hell no,
That yeah.
Even though I feel like in Beautiful Disaster, it took them forever to get together in the actual book. Like you're literally it's like a 450 page book. You're probably on page like 210, 220 before you got to them actually finally being together.
But I think with Beautiful Disaster, I still really loved it, even though they made us wait so long for them to get together because of the banter and the flirting and the back and forth and the will they, won't they kind of thing. I really love that tension that they built.
Their
too.
development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it actually, and then there was so much book left after they were together.
Yes.
So I do.
I like
But
when they have good
Thoughtless,
character development.
the Thoughtless series, holy shit! Like
That was a good.
like talking about not liking your heroine in a book because that girl drove me crazy.
Yeah.
And her name was Kiara.
Kiara.
It was-
Kiara.
and I was like, oh my god,
What do
he
they call
loves
those?
you.
The
Yeah.
antagonist. Yeah, she was.
Because she's your heroine, but she's like
Girl,
not
she's
the antagonist. I guess she kind of is the antagonist.
So wishy-washy,
No,
like,
because she
could
she's
not-
pretty much going between two guys.
Two guys that are best friends,
So there were times where I'm like, girl, you make up your mind.
and she just wouldn't.
She wouldn't.
You
She didn't
know,
want to
I
hurt one or
wish-
the other.
I wish they would have given what's the guy that she was originally with before she met Kellen?
I forget the guy's name.
I wish Danny.
Was it Danny? Just
Danny.
plain nice name.
It was Danny.
Oh, I don't remember.
I wish they would have given Danny his own book.
I think they
know
did.
that- I don't remember him getting his own book.
Because they
but I
made a
remember
Griffin book.
but not Danny.
And I believe they made it. I believe they
never
made
read
her
it.
ex. Let me look.
Because I know he ended up having a girlfriend and all that kind of stuff, but I felt like he always still kind of had feelings.
Oh,
for
he
her.
definitely was still in love with
His name
her.
was Danny. Because in my mind, that's how she was. Danny.
I think it was Danny, but I'm not 100% sure. It's been such a long time.
Oh, you know what I never read too? And then so Thoughtless is her point of view. But
I read his point of view.
They had a Thoughtful, which is his point of view. I never actually got to read that. And then Untamed is the one about Griffin.
I read them all.
So yeah, I guess they didn't do a series.
They didn't do one with him, and I just kind of.
What is Painful? There's a book called Painful.
Same author? I haven't heard about that.
Let me see. Well, this might be the one about the boyfriend, because I'm telling you, it was painful to watch.
to read, you mean?
Because I feel like I watch it in my head.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, that's true. I'm
Me too.
very visual in my head.
So I always visualize what I'm reading.
Like in my mind, her voice is so whiny.
Callan.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, that's our book section.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've been in a reading slump lately, so I'm trying to get back in.
Me too. All you gotta do is find the right book to get you back into it, because it always happens that way for me, because I always go through reading slumps, and then I just have to find that one book that reinvigorates my reading soul, and then all I can think about is I want to get into another world. I want to go to another world.
Yeah.
But I almost get I'll read a book that's so good that it almost puts me like in a slump. Because I can't find something.
You can't connect to
As
the
good.
other new characters the same way.
You're still thinking about the other characters.
Right. So to me, some books are so good that I will never forget those books. And it almost, it's like a feeling of, I guess, high. I don't know. Like I get high off of reading books. And
Me too.
So like you can just immerse yourself. I've learned so much from reading books too. Like,
Well, it helps me because like I feel like with my anxiety or anything going on in my life that's like just overload.
Yeah, you can
and it's like I can literally sit down on my couch in my bed
and get lost.
just get lost in a completely different story.
Yeah.
And not have to think
Like,
about
I went through a
anything.
whole-
And like almost feel like you're in the story.
I went through a whole phase where like all the books I was reading was about drug lords.
Yeah, and then I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll do that. I'll like go from MMA fighters to drug lords
Yes.
to millionaires.
Mafia books.
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I learned so much. I'm
'Cause I
like,
have
that's how the
so-
cartel works? Oh, okay.
I have
Like,
so many, because I read a Navy series. That was
I
good.
read Navy
That
series,
I think
too.
I gave those books to you to read. But
Is that a Lori Foster one? Or?
no, it was a random one I found. You know who's another? So Lori Foster, but the Laura Stevens or something. She got some dirty little books. They're good.
Yeah, there's another author, Maya something. She also has a
Laura Lay.
Maya Banks.
Oh, I don't know if I know.
Maya Banks. She does a lot of I call it my smut.
I feel like Lori Foster's like my in between. Like there's like 50 Shades of Grey and there's Katherine Anderson. Like Lori Foster's in the middle of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read books that 50 Shades of Grey is just like
Tame.
I mean, I don't know how. Like, I think 50 Shades of Grey is my limit when it comes to the smut, because it can get to a little too much. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, there's a lot. Stacey can go to that limit.
because I feel like even like in was it in 50 Shades of Grey, like by the second one, I was like, so do you guys? It's like literally every other word they were having sex again. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's true.
that does get boring
It was
after
like
a while.
every 3 pages, and you're like, okay, so do y'all have a relationship outside the sexual part or what?
And it's
So
funny.
it's like the character development is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So with 50 Shades of Grey, I think it's just because it was so popular. Like, damn, like she
It's
went
like what
into
people wanted.
Yeah, so it's like this elevated fantasy. But for me, I mean, I think Hunger Games really, even though it's a young adult book, really re-kicked. I had a reading slump, and that reignited it for me because they were coming out with the movie. I'm like,
Mine was
let me.
Twilight.
Yeah, and it's just like I felt, they're coming out with the movie. Let me go ahead and read the book. And first of all, the books were way better than because everything is from Katniss's point of view. So I felt like I got more detail.
Yeah.
But Catching Fire, of all the movies, Catching Fire was my favorite. I feel like
Catching Fire was the best one.
and it stayed the most true to the book. So I mean,
Another
yeah.
good author that y'all should check out. Her name is Kennedy Ryan, and she's also she's a black author.
I've heard of her. I've heard of her. I have to go.
Ryan, I will tell you, and I will tell you which series to read. This is the,
Okay.
This is the one other series that hit me the same way the Thoughtless series hit me.
Okay, cool.
What series is that?
I have to think. I can't think of it right now. But the author is Kennedy Ryan. I'll let y'all know. And
Okay.
Kennedy
All right.
Ryan. And then the last series I want to bring up is, which I love, and I definitely think, Stacey, you need to read them. Both of y'all do, but I think the supernatural stuff you'll appreciate.
I really don't like
but you do read some Life of Anna.
Okay,
Life of Anna. Life of Anna.
But
Okay.
I know that was
I haven't
weird.
read that one, but I can do
That's that
supernatural.
sick. That's that
Don't
book
even
that
bother.
that's that book that her and Lakin read. I was like, this is too much. Like she read me an excerpt. I was like,
Don't.
excuse me.
Listen. Don't read that book.
Like,
Oh, so that's a
Let me
no
go
go.
oh, now you don't want to suggest it to people.
I'm gonna remove it from my Kindle ASAP.
But yeah, it's called it's J.R. Ward. She has multiple series, but the one that got me super into reading was called Black Dagger Brotherhood, and it starts with Dark Lover. The entire series is just amazing. She's such an amazing writer.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So there we go. We have a couple things to
So check out
go on our arena
Kennedy
list.
Ryan. Kennedy Ryan.
Kennedy Ryan and J.R. Ward.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Stacey, I know you said that you had a chokehold, something that really caught your attention this week that you wanted to discuss. So what's that?
Oh, it was about the high school student Ralph Yarl that went to the wrong address,
Right.
And he basically
Was
damn
shot.
near executed. He was shot in the head, and again in the arm, and thank goodness he survived.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the society we live in, I don't understand how it even happened. He went to pick up his younger siblings, and he was just off. Like, I think he was supposed to go to 115th Street, and he may have went to 115th Terrace, something simple.
Yeah, I think it's the same address,
Address,
but
but
the difference is street versus terrace.
or something. And he rang the doorbell. That was literally all he did. And before he could even blink, he was shot in the head and then shot a second time in the arm.
Yeah.
And the guy that did it was an older
man.
He was like 80 years old. And he said that he feared for his life because someone was
Ringing his bell.
well, he said that his story was that someone was opening the screen door or whatever. But the kid who's alive and talking actually said that he never touched the door. He just rang the doorbell, and before he knew it, he was shot in the head. And what's crazy to me, he was shot in the head and then again in the arm, and he actually crawled away and went to the house next door. Nobody answered. The second house, nobody answered. And I think the third house is where they actually helped him. But from what I understand, when he got to that house, they made him get down on his hands and knees. Clearly, he's been shot in the head. But, and
Sad.
it's so sad.
Very sad.
Thankfully, he is alive. And I know people have made this into a race issue because the guy was white. He was older. And obviously, black men in general are always deemed a threat. But I can't even say
Black boys.
But I can't even say it's a race issue because within the same week, there's another story about these two cheerleaders and that were, I guess they're coming from a competition. They were at a gas station when they came out. One of them accidentally went to the wrong car to open the door, but when she realized it was the wrong car, she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and went back to the correct car. Well, that person gets out of their car, goes over to them, and they're like rolling the window down saying, "Oh, we're so sorry, and he just starts firing into their car, and they're in the I think they're alive as well. They're in the hospital, and I think wasn't the person who
There was another one where this person actually ended up turning themselves in, where this person shot at a child because their ball rolled into their yard, and they attempted to retrieve it,
and he shot the child and the mom.
Yeah,
and that was a black guy.
And
So
this
I
is
can't
our
even
right
say-
to bear arms.
Right,
shit.
I don't
This
even
is
think it's a race
ridiculous.
issue at this point.
People
because
just want to shoot.
People are
Like,
just shooting
chill out.
first without even asking questions.
It's definitely, I don't think this is something that's new. I think we have come to a point where, because there's unfettered access to guns, people feel like that is the quickest way to solve a problem, is just to pull a gun. And like you see that all the time with road rage incidents, where I think this was in Florida, where it was two dads who had two of their kids in the car,
I saw
and they
that.
started opening fire on each other and actually
Yes.
shot one of each of their, so one child in each car got shot. And it's just like, God, really, would you? I would, my attempt when I have my child in the car is keeping them safe. So I would immediately try to extract myself from that situation. But I think a gun almost makes people emboldened and feel like they're invincible.
They feel like they're invincible.
But I think guns just escalate the situation where something as simple as, you know, you beep your horn and be like, screw you. And
I don't beat my horn at all.
Well,
I
don't either.
I don't do that anymore.
Well, now people are like, okay, well, I'm not going to use my words. I'm not going to use my hands. Let me just pull out a gun. Like now it's just escalated.
But
because before it used to be people used to cuss each other out. And then people used to put their hands on each other. And now we're just shooting people.
But what would possess someone? I've done it before. I've walked up to a car and literally like, why is my car not opening? And then I look inside. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, oh shit. That's not
so
my
me
car.
and mommy did that once.
Why would someone come and shoot you for that?
Me and mom did that once. We straight up she had this old Altima and it was after one of my band concerts. And me and mom straight got in the car and sat down and were trying to like start the car.
Oh my God.
And then she was like, why won't it go in? And then straight up we looked down and I saw like a toolkit and I said, this is not our car. Like we straight up got in.
So that person left their car unlocked.
Completely unlocked. And I'm telling you, it was her, remember her old Altima?
Yeah, I know.
It looks exactly the same. In fact, mommy had a missing hubcap in the front right. And that one was, I think the Ultimas of that year had like a defect with their hubcaps because every Ultima I saw that year had missing hubcaps. But I knew because I was like, oh my God, this shit's missing hubcaps too. That's why we thought it was our car.
I just think
mom forgot where she parked.
Straight up, girl, and I did too because I got in the car with her. You know, normally I would have been like, "Mom, get out of that car. It's not ours."
A simple mistake like that now can cause you to lose your life.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's the crazy part because we were in the car attempting to start it. Can you imagine if they walked up on us and had a gun?
It's automatic.
And now we're trying to steal the car.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, and I just felt like in that situation, I mean, she apologized and walked away.
Yeah.
But you took it upon yourself to get out of your car and go over to them and open fire into their car.
The other day I was driving and I was honking at somebody
please don't do that.
And I was on the phone with one of my friends and she was just like, don't do that. You don't know what's going to happen.
Honestly, you have horrible road rage. Remember when we were coming?
We were downtown.
You were arguing.
Literally going back and forth.
I damn near had a panic attack.
Yeah, it was me.
Oh, they got so scared.
Stacy and mom, we were coming back from Restoration
Hardware
for brunch because it was our mom's birthday, and she is like going at it with this man.
The man, he started it.
Janice,
I understand, but if he had a gun, he could have finished it, and we were in the car with you.
Yes.
So we're just like, Janice, let it go. She goes, no,
I didn't follow him or anything. He was following and cussing at me.
You were screaming
and I was cussing him back.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
she was hunking and like it was just a whole bunch of stuff.
I think you said, what you gonna do? Did you not say that?
And I was in the front seat with her, and I'm like, bitch,
you don't know what he gonna do.
And I'm almost positive I heard her say, what's she gonna do? I said, oh my God.
Yeah, he can pull a gun and shoot us.
Right.
Stop. Literally, the only reason they didn't stop going back and forth is because he went in one direction, we went in another.
Right.
But I was already
like, I forgot what he was doing. He was completely in the wrong.
He was in the wrong.
He was in the wrong, but it was just.
And then he started harassing me. He started harassing us in our car, not the other way around.
Ashton.
Oh, it's Stacy's dog, y'all.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Don't worry about it. He gets excited when somebody's at the front door.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I think in fact whenever they were going back and forth, there was that lady that was walking her dog, and you could see her. She's like, stop, trying to tell him, y'all need to calm down.
That's how bad it was.
He was
that people that
were
walking were like trying to.
Well,
we were at the light.
He was trying to come over on my car.
Yeah.
So he was like literally about to hit me.
No, what it was is
and
that
he wanted
Janice's lane was ending.
Yes.
And wouldn't let her merge into the next lane, which common courtesy. Yeah, he did it on purpose to try to block her. Which common courtesy is you're supposed to do the zipper method where you let one car in, go next. That's the common.
And it was just us two on the road.
Yeah, and so he was being a jerk about it, and it was
That
unnecessary.
lady was like,
and then he started cussing me out.
Yeah,
with his old father in the car.
The son. There was a son in the car.
Yeah,
with
and he had like a convertible.
Mercedes, I think it was.
Mind you, Janice wasn't in an SUV. I'm like, dude, like you're playing. I mean, like I said, luckily he didn't have a weapon, didn't pull it. But at the end of the day,
they're so quick to say,
but also
for their life.
But also,
you're saying I shouldn't have.
But he was dumb too because you don't don't know if we have a weapon in our
He
car
doesn't.
too, and we had more of a reason to feel threatened by him than
No,
the other way
they're probably
around.
saying that they felt.
He
They probably
started
felt-
going off on me and started
did.
trying to run into my
but
car.
you definitely was trying to finish it.
Yes.
I ain't no punk. Okay. All right.
But yeah,
you're right.
it's-
You're
I
right.
mean,
'Cause it is
situation-
dangerous out here.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't
situations,
do
and
that.
we live in Dallas, so they crazy out here. But situations can get escalated so quickly over really, honestly, menial, trivial things that really shouldn't cost somebody their life.
Yeah.
Or
No.
be seriously injured where you're shot in the head over literally a simple mistake.
Because to me, the older gentleman that shot the little boy, like that just goes to show you why I feel like gun licensing and like continued education on it is important, because you probably would have seen that the man is probably a little bit senile.
What? No, did you
and
see?
don't need
well,
to be
I'm not trying to
having
be
no
mean,
guns.
but I looked at his eyes. I said, well, he probably
He's old.
he can't see.
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
I
saying.
know
The man looks.
one of his eyes. I know he don't see nothing.
But
out of
his
that eye.
grandson did come out and say,
Say
yes,
that he has
is racist.
He has racist tendencies.
But the
is what he
grandson,
said.
I mean, maybe I'm looking at the wrong person, but I could have sworn the grandson looked mixed too. So
Well, the grandson said
Yeah,
he
he's like
had
his-
racist.
he looks
tendencies.
Hispanic, but so the guy doesn't look. Yeah, and look how old he is. Like, I mean, I'm just saying.
No, that
is
one
it-
eye, he
should
can't see nothing out of
So
that eye.
should
I
he
can tell
really
you that.
be somebody that continues to have guns at their
No,
home?
I don't
Like,
think so.
This is where I'm like, regulations.
No.
That's where the guy with the cheerleaders completely different. This situation, like, you shouldn't have access to a gun at that age.
Yeah.
Not looking the way you look. You look like
Not-
you're about to fall over.
Girl.
he probably can't even
It-
drive by himself.
If you
Yeah,
can't,
no.
if you can't pass an eye test, you don't.
You don't need to have a gun because you
sure
can't
don't.
see who
You
the hell
can't
you're
see.
shooting at.
yeah.
And then he said he felt threatened because it was like big. I'm like, you're bigger than the kid that
Yeah.
came to your door. What do you mean you feel
yeah.
threatened? You didn't even open. You shot him through the.
He probably shouldn't even be living alone. He needs to be in assisted living.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, luckily, this gentleman, like you said, he survived.
He did.
He's back home.
He has traumatic brain injury though.
Yeah,
but
traumatic
he
brain,
is
and there was a GoFundMe. I think he's raised
$4
over-
million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Last I checked, it was over 2. So hopefully that will help with his future care and rehabilitation.
But he can walk and he can talk.
Yeah. So
And I bet
and
he's
he
ringing
looks
that alarm.
and he looks so good.
So he definitely was not lucky in the sense that it could have been a lot worse, and we could be talking about him at his
Another-
funeral versus him at home recovering. So we definitely want to, send
But
our thoughts and prayers
I
out to
almost
him.
hate to say this, and I'm gonna make it real quick. But I also feel like the guy's gonna get away with it. First of all, he was.
he's
he
not gonna
wasn't
get in
even-
trouble. He's too
He
old.
wasn't even charged with attempted murder. It was something else. But I also believe the fact that he was at his house. It's
They're
so
gonna- they're
easy
gonna
to
go
say
easy on
that,
him because
well,
he's
it's very
older,
easy
too.
to say that I'm at my house. I felt threatened. I mean, the kid was on his
Yeah.
property, so I'm already like, okay, this is just gonna be.
And that's
like,
when it comes to these stand your ground laws. It
Yeah.
needs to be, you need to have equal response to threat.
Right.
So if somebody rings your doorbell, that doesn't automatically escalate. I feel threatened. Did that person have a gun? Did they,
Because what's the
come at
probable
you?
cause
Yeah.
for you to
What's
feel
the,
threatened?
what, just ringing a doorbell, it does not constitute a threat to your
He
life.
said he felt threatened. Someone's at the door.
In that
trying
case-
to open the door.
If
That's what he said.
if that just ringing the doorbell, Jehovah's Witness, y'all need to stay home.
Please stay home.
Because
Speaking of Jehovah's Witness,
yeah, we're going to talk about, someone else who's a part of that religion who's having issues, but
who has problematic behavior.
very problematic. So we're definitely going to talk about that coming up. So we're going to take a quick little break, and we're going to come back and dive into our main topic.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get into our main topic. Just for some background, this week or the past 2 weeks, Marques Houston has really had people talking because of an interview he did, and he talked about his wife, who, for some background, he stated that he met when they were 16. Supposedly they didn't have anything romantic going on.
When she was 16.
When she was 16, he was much older.
Yes.
He's already
Even younger. I think
mid
like 14.
mid to late 30s when he was in his mid to late 30s when they met. She was
They
a
said she
teenager.
was 16 when they
16. And he claims that that's when he met, but nothing romantic ever happened, that they did not start talking until she was 18. Mind you, they got married when she was 19. So somebody had brought up this real quick point. that even though they met when they were 16, he must have had that in his mind for him to circle the block and come back around and talk to her when she was 18 and have that romantic step.
But didn't you see that post?
They were actually, because there's videos or photos of him and her coming. Like there's one girl had came out and said, oh, she actually remembered them coming to her house in LA because they were Jehovah's Witness, and in the group that she was one of the people in the group. So he knew her the whole time. I guess they were.
So maybe that's why he says they had so much in common. Maybe that's one of the things.
They were part of that group.
That is part of his reasoning that he felt like he fell in love with her because they had so much in common, that he felt that she was very interesting. And then to put the icing on the cake, he was talking about how he does not like dating women his own age because they feel like, especially if they have children, that they he's not really interested if they come with children or they have baggage the older they get.
He said it's a red flag.
It's a red flag. And his explanation is that as far as the kids part involved, that supposedly he talked to his dad a lot and his dad advised him not to, have somebody be with somebody who has kids already because they don't know what kind of drama the baby daddy is going to bring, which is understandable. So that's not my...
As his dad used to sit there and watch him and his brothers get molested by Chris Stokes. Okay.
Allegedly,
Jenny.
I mean...
and then also, we just want to make it clear, like, some people do have that preference of not wanting to date somebody with a child, which is totally understandable. Sometimes some people are just not meant to be in a relationship, or some people just don't want kids, or they don't want to deal, like you said, that drama of that parent's the other child. Some people just can't handle that, and that if that's you, that's perfectly fine. Not everybody's built for that. And to be upfront and honest about that, I have no problem with that. That's not my problem. The problem is when he talks about, quote unquote, baggage of older women. He feels like older women, they feel like they are too independent and that they have the attitude. They have, he says they have something about their attitude, and that they have the attitude of, I don't need you. I can do this by myself.
I don't need you. I can do that for myself.
And he feels like he wants to take care of he wants to take care of his wife, which is...
So I kind of understood that part a little bit. Like for me, I had an issue with the whole, the baggage and the red flag with having kids. But for me, when he said that, I took it when he was saying like, older women are like, they're more independent and it's like what he really can't do anything for them, but he wants someone that he can like...
For you to...
I kind of get what he's like. He's more traditional.
What you want and what you're saying, an entire sector of our world, like you're talking about older women and you just grouped them all together and you were just like, they're too much.
He just wants someone that, I think he just wants someone that he can be a man for, and that he can like show them things they never experienced.
Exactly. He wants to be the molder. He wants to be the guide,
have control and manipulate
the life that he has with a woman. But
there are some women that won't even allow a man to be a man,
and that's okay.
No.
And that's his preference. But you now, instead of saying, I want a woman who is less independent, you sit there and say all older women are too independent. They are too this and they're too that. So I'm confused. So you don't want them to have an opinion. You don't want them to have gone through life where they had to do it for themselves. And now it bothers you that they are too vocal, because that's a person. That's not a whole entire gender.
When I listened to what he...
Or age demographic.
I didn't actually hear him say it. I was actually reading and they put inserts of what he said. And when I heard that, I kind of just took it that he just wanted someone that he can actually be a husband to, and not someone who is just going to be like, there are some women out there that are so strong-willed, so strong-minded that you can't do anything for them. And that they don't allow a man to be a man.
What does that mean? Wait, you just said something. I was like, what does that mean, be a husband to? What constitutes somebody being a husband?
Making the decisions? No. I got the impression that he was saying that he wanted someone that he could take care of. Like some women are just like,
okay, that's not being a husband.
And
I understand, but you're saying, but to me, for you to, and I'm not saying you specifically, because I'm saying more so that thought process. Being a husband does not mean that you have to take care of me.
Right.
That's not what being a husband is. It's supposed to be a partnership. That's what a marriage is. It's a partnership.
Okay, and I the problem I have with that statement as far as taking care of, when they say taking care of, typically what men like that mean is financially. And I think they want to be able to take care of women financially because it means control. Because you can take care of somebody without having to 100% be all about finances.
Yeah,
when
it
I
could
want
be
to
my
be
mental that you're taking care of.
So you think if a man wants to take care of a woman financially, that's about being controlled? Because there's some men that they just
No.
feel like their purpose
not-
is to take care of their family financially, not about controlling
So
them. But that's what they're.
You can take when we combine our finances, you're still taking care of your family. Even if I have a job, I can pay some of the bills or come in 50-50. You're still contributing financially and taking care of your family, us as a couple. Even if it means like, hey, if that means that if shit don't work out between us, I can step aside. I can go here. I can afford to get my own place, have a roof over my head, pay for food on the table, clothes on my back. Just because I can do it for myself does not mean that you can't come in and also help take care of me. Or financially.
Yeah.
It just means that just because I don't need it, there's a difference
Doesn't
between
mean I don't want it.
and want.
Right.
What he's talking about, he needs that person to be financially, when I hear that, financially dependent. When he says take care of, there's so many different ways when you can take care of somebody. Sometimes, and especially as independent women, sometimes I just need that emotional support.
Yeah.
That's how you can take care of me, being there emotionally for me, because there's so much to a relationship
it wasn't-
than just paying for the bills.
Because he didn't just say, I want them to be, let me take care of you financially. He said, take care of you. And then he said, older women, they have a lot of opinions and they're a little bit too more independent. And he said something about their attitude, and it was just like, okay, so now you're not just talking about taking care of me. You want somebody who is going to be completely submissive to you.
To be completely blank.
In the sense that I don't want you to have experienced life to where you were making decisions on your own, and now I come in and I have to almost assert myself to show you that I also can help you make decisions. I can take that burden. And he's grouping a group of women saying that because you've had to do that, you're not going to allow me to do that, which is not always the case. Because I know I'm very independent, but I would love to be able to relax and say, you know what, I'm going to allow somebody to take on some of these burdens and help take care of me. Yes.
Well, and I think that's what he was saying. He wants someone that he feel like he's needed, and that he
But why group a whole entire demographic of women and say that that's the reason? Say you were in love with her and you loved her. That has nothing to do. Why are you downgrading an entire demographic of women because you wanted to marry a young woman? That's on you. Nobody's saying you couldn't have married. I mean, at the end of the day, you're 19 years older than her, so it's a little weird. But at the end, you're trying to deflect and now say, well, I don't like this type of woman, so that's why I went to this age. Yeah. And it's like, well, what type of woman are they? You want a woman that literally is a blank canvas and that you can create.
You can control.
And mold into your image of what a good wife is.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I feel like his end game is when dealing with someone who's so much younger than him, who's had really zero life experience. So she's 19 when they get married. So realistically, she probably moved from her parents' house to his house. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so she doesn't have, how do you discover yourself? Figure out who you are as an individual to then, I feel like you should discover who you are, what you like, what you want to do
first
before you can
I agree with totally
be on a
agree
solid base first for you to be a good wife and a good mother. That has to be your foundation. Right. You can't be a partial person or incomplete person and then attach to someone else.
Because 10 years from now, she'll probably leave him and
that's
be like, find herself.
Because at the end of the day,
she'll leave him.
Even though you married
she will
her,
find herself.
You married her at 19.
Yeah.
I know you were involved with her.
Because he met her at 16.
I think before then, because she made a post. She made a post and she said 2 years. It was on her Instagram, and it said like 2 years of marriage, but almost a decade together.
Because
that's what it was. That post is what ignited. We're like, wait a minute,
the entire thing.
The math ain't mathin'.
But they came back and said she was 16. But
I think that's exactly what happened.
She said 10 years together.
That's what it was. I think that's what ignited everything and what caused him to do that
almost
interview.
A decade. She's like almost a decade together.
Yeah.
Which would mean if you're only 22 right now, and I think it said 4 years of marriage. And then she was like, but almost a decade together. And it was like, okay, so you started this relationship and you guys have been hiding it this entire time.
Probably. And she's probably never dated anyone other than
No.
him.
No.
Because she was a heavy, they're Jehovah's
And that's
Witness.
why I'm saying if he, and he had to almost he bashed older women to cover up,
He did
justify.
come back and apologize, though. He walked it back.
And he should have, because just like his bandmates, Romeo, and I forget the other guy's name, because Romeo is my man. But they came back and said, please do not take this as our opinion, because it's, at the end of the day, you can have your opinion, but it is offensive. It's offensive.
Yeah, it's offensive. Yeah, I think it's problematic. And I feel like we can't ignore it, especially everything that happened with, like I said, I'm not claiming that they're the similar situations, but the way we ignored the relationship between R. Kelly and Aaliyah, we kind of like, we knew it was wrong, but we chose to ignore it or not bring enough.
Well, the thing to me though, because you can in many states sign to let your kid get married at a certain age. I don't think that's right.
No,
I don't think they should allow that, but you can. So
Yeah.
I think when the fact that her parents were on board with it is a big reason why people
supposedly
push it under the rug.
Yeah,
her mom was
supposedly, but that wasn't the situation. They forged her birth certificate. It wasn't until after the fact, and then the reason that the parents didn't pursue legal charges against him is because he pretty much promised them a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's why they never pursued anything else.
Your child.
So pretty much. And so I feel like in this situation, like I said, she is an adult now, but I have a hard time believing, especially since they got married when she was 19, I have a hard time believing they didn't have some kind of relationship that I feel would be inappropriate for someone his age and such a large age gap to have started before she was quote unquote.
Because think about it, they got married at 19. When did the actual relationship
He said
start?
18 is what he said.
Okay.
But a red flag for me, if my 20-something-year-old daughter comes home with a man of 40-something years old, red flag. Hell no. Not
It
happening.
is.
Not
It
my
is a
child.
red flag.
It is a red flag.
flag. But at the same time, I would try to understand it, at least meet the man. Because
I mean, I would, but I'm like, you're mid-40s.
What do you have in
What do you
common?
have in common? You're like, what?
And apparently, and that's what I'm saying, and Marques Houston's trying to say that he has so much in common with his wife, which is why they got together. And I'm like, what could you possibly have in common with a child? Mm-hmm. Except for your religious beliefs, because she's a Jehovah's Witness as well.
Mind you, he's, how old is Marques Houston?
He's 41.
He's 41 and she's 22.
So he's not much older than me. Just imagine when I graduated high school in 2001. So that means that she was probably born the same around that 2000.
She was
2001.
born when he was 19 years old.
She's
So
younger
you
than
mean to
my
tell-
daughter. She's younger
You mean
than
to tell
Kira.
me that when I graduated high school, this girl was a baby? I couldn't even imagine being with someone that I'm like, so when I graduated high school, you're an infant. That is, we don't have anything and we will never have anything in common.
I've said that before because I would like to date older now. I'm 34.
Okay.
And and I would like to date older because if I date older, I feel like I'll have more in common with that person. But at the same time, I feel like I'm in a weird bracket right now.
But I think
I feel like I can't go to 20s because you are not ready for the same things in life I'm
You're
ready
not,
for.
no.
Exactly.
And then at the same time, if I date, I feel like my age cutoff right now is like 43.
Okay.
That's a good.
No older. I would say no older than 45 for us to have the same things that we want to do in life.
Right.
To
You
be
know
on
what
the
I mean?
same path.
Go on the same path. Like, we want to go to dinners or maybe sometimes going out drinking or, going to a concert. I just want to make sure like you want to keep up with that kind of stuff with me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also slow down. So finding that balance. So it's just weird to me that you can find that balance with somebody 19 years younger.
But
than you.
also, I think because they've done research on this where they've seen what is, based on your age group, what is your quote unquote age dating range that you prefer. And there's a difference between men and women, where women, their age range as far as who they're willing, how young and how old they're willing to date, the older they get, the range moves with them. So the older I get, so I say I'm 39, so I want somebody between 35 and 45. When I get to 45, that person would be between 40 and 50. So women
change it.
Their age range as far as who they're willing to changes as they get older. So, but with men, despite the fact they get older,
they want younger.
Between, from 20, 30, 40, even all the way up to 50, their sweet spot remains exactly the same, which is 18 to 22.
That's crazy.
Really?
And it's that almost that really sick fantasy of that barely legal age that they like. And it is part of the patriarchy and the toxic masculinity where it doesn't matter how old they get. Their age group they're wanting to be with is that young, inexperienced, doesn't know anything, because as soon as you start getting knowledge and start being independent, all of a sudden,
it's too much. It's too hard.
There's too much work to control.
Too hard.
And so
those are the red flags, I guess.
Those are the red flags.
And those become red flags.
Yeah.
Me having a brain.
Not saying that all men are like this, but
Right,
on
right.
average, the sweet spot, no matter how old they get, is 18 to 22. There's plenty of men. I always
I can totally
look to the
see
example.
that because they like young girls.
Yeah, they like young girls. I always tell people, why can't you be more like, everyone has seen like Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
Like I feel like, man, that's a really good man right there. And he actually has a girlfriend that's actually his age.
She looks a lot older though, but I think it's because he looks so much younger.
She grayed out her hair, so her hair is completely gray. So she doesn't color it. So good on her. But they're the same age.
She's just natural. Like, this is me.
And just to see them and then see them on the red carpet.
They were kissing on the red carpet the other day.
Yeah, and so they've been dating for years and years and years. It's just
They're not married?
they're not married. I don't know money.
Have you ever heard Keanu Reeves' story? It's really sad.
Yeah, he was married. They had a baby, but unfortunately the baby passed away.
The baby and the wife passed away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and it was
That's a really big heartbreak for him.
I think it was like a accident and both of them passed.
I can't remember.
like
I think they lost
If
the
you
baby
go back-
first and then
go
she
back
died.
and look, because he's had a lot of tragedy in his life. I think even with his like family, like his parents or his
I think
brother.
he had a sister. or
Yeah, like
somebody
he's
that
lost a
passed
lot
away.
of people close to him.
So for him, I just to see him happy is just kind of cool. But I'm just saying, like, when it comes to quote unquote age, because women tend to, when quote unquote the baggage that men have, we tend to, okay, well, I can work with this.
Yeah,
and
we're
whereas
more
men,
accepting.
we have to be, like I said, I'm generalizing. This is not every man. So if
you can't.
If this don't apply, let it lie, please.
Yeah. Let's not be like Marques Houston now.
Yes,
Just generalize.
Generalize. Yeah, like I said, if it doesn't apply to you,
Let it fly.
Let it fly. I'm not talking about you, but unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of pressure the older you get, where men aren't interested because they feel like they're more interested in somebody who is a blank slate that they can have their impression on.
But it's almost like Leonardo, like as old as he is,
Yes.
he does
He's
not.
very
He's
problematic.
still like some in
his
their
girlfriends
early-
always
it's
remain
not-
the same age. He gets
be
older,
clear-
but his girlfriends remains the same age.
For me, it's not a problem for me. Like, if you want to date young girls, go date young girls. That's not me anymore.
and
I'm a grown woman. If you want to have that, but don't knock me as an older woman. And that's what I'm saying. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You guys
Right.
did that episode where, Chelsea Handler, older, doesn't have kids. She's a problem because she doesn't have kids and she's too happy and she's too engaged in her life. But then, it's this, but then at the same time, if you're older and you do have kids, that's too much baggage.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's nothing you can do.
Man,
like
it's tough being a woman.
It is. It's just like being a woman in this day and age in America.
in America.
Well,
It's
anywhere.
just like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If
Not-
I'm single with kids, if I'm married with kids, if I'm young with kids, if I'm young without kids, it's just.
It's all a problem.
There's
'cause-
always going to be something that you're going to say,
Yeah.
this is the reason why you're this, that you're divorced or you're single or you have kids alone. It's just, there's always going to be something.
Yeah, but I also think that women, especially the younger generation, are like, wait a minute, I want to be happy too. And so they're no longer prioritizing husband and children. Whatever that picture is of your perfect life, your perfect day, they're coming up with their own vision and then pursuing that, not necessarily what society says is what should happen. So if that's Chelsea Handler, like, I don't want kids, I never want kids. If you want to be Chelsea Handler or Oprah and be like, I know this isn't for me, and just because society says as a woman, I should want to be a mother. Please don't feel obligated. That's not a reason, because there's plenty of children out there who are traumatized because they have mothers who didn't want them. And I'd rather not have a child and take on that stigma than to imprint that trauma onto a child, an innocent child.
I think at the end of the day, Marques Houston is just trying to deflect his pedophilia.
Me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, you might not even be like a straight up pedophile, like children, but you dated somebody that was inappropriate.
They wanted the
and you're trying to deflect.
So I'm not really too much into Marques Houston, but prior to this marriage with this, what was his dating history like? Like prior to her, like
he really didn't have a lot of dating history prior to her. He really didn't.
Now, is this
not
the
anything
same,
public?
Is this the same group that had the whole Chris Stokes
thing?
thing?
Chris Stokes. Oh, so that's the thing. I
okay.
personally think that some of it's coming from.
I was wondering. Okay, if that's
some of it's coming from that. Yeah, Chris Stokes, I feel like, has a big part of it because, there was a lot talk about him molesting members of B2K, which I think more of them were molested. And I think it's just harder for young men to talk about molestation at that age because, like I think Jillian mentioned, it's like if you're molested by a woman, it's almost like a high five type of thing. Like, why would you complain? And if you're molested by of course,
it's very wrong.
But then if you're molested by a male, it's like even more so of a taboo to where it's like, don't talk about it. So I do feel like with Marques Houston, because from my understanding, from what Raz-B says, he was molested by Chris Stokes. Multiple band members were molested, including Marques Houston, but Marques used to also molest them.
Oh, okay.
So, and I don't know if that's because, obviously Marques was with Chris Stokes in the beginning of IMX. So it could have been like you started molesting him, you started grooming him, and then he started molesting others in front of you. Like, who knows?
So because the history with Marques Houston and his group, so they started immature when they were really young. And then when they got older and more mature, they turned it IMX. So was it the immature days or the IMX age?
They were, I think he was managing them from the immature days.
Oh, okay.
And
are they all the same age, or is Marques Houston older?
Houston is slightly older than the B2K members. Like, so it was immature, and then they turned into IMX. Right when they turned to IMX is when B2K came about.
Okay.
Marques Houston is Amari's older brother.
For real? I thought that was fake.
No, that's his real half brother.
Get out.
Yeah, it's his real brother.
So different mom, same dad?
I can't remember.
Or the other way around?
I can't remember. But I know they're actually truly related.
Okay.
And because Orion and Marques are not related.
Who?
Orion, which is Amari's younger brother.
Yeah.
He actually sung too.
Okay.
So they're not, so Marques and Orion are technically not brother and sister. So that's what I'm saying. So it's one side. Like he has a brother on this side and a brother on this side. But anyway, so I think.
Oh, okay. So I went ahead and Googled that. It says Marques Houston and Marion are not half brothers.
Oh.
He has two siblings, Brandy and Daniel Houston. The website also answered the question as whether Marion is Marcus's brother. It is revealed that the two are not siblings.
Okay, so maybe that was just a selling point that they had?
I think that was just a marketing ploy. Okay.
Because I thought Omarion's brother was Orion.
It is. Okay. That's his little brother.
Okay.
They look just alike.
They
so
do.
You can't, there's no denying that one.
Yeah,
because then they said Janae was Little Fizz's cousin. So maybe they were just all trying to keep it in the trying to for image, whatever. But either way, the whole thing is when B2K came out after they turned into IMX, they were probably like a good 5-7 years older than B2K members. So they had been with Chris Stokes. So they were more of a developed group when B2K was coming out. And B2K surpassed them, I feel like, with popularity.
Yeah.
And I think the group just kind of disintegrated. It wasn't like a big rhyme or reason why the group broke up. They just broke up. And I think a lot of it had to do with what they were dealing with behind scenes. Because Amari had a solo career and then everything else just disintegrated with it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of hard, especially when one member has he had a very successful solo career, Amarian.
Yeah.
Same reason with NSYNC, once Justin kind of went off and did his solo group. I think the writing was on the wall.
I think that's why
fell apart for
Rasby kind of freaked out, because it's just like, after all of that, after all I went through, you up and leave and I'm left with nothing.
Yeah.
So I think, again, I think it was very much a groomed type of
Very
environment with that record label, period.
Yeah.
And I think with Marques Houston, I think a lot of why he would groom such a young girl has to do with his past. And, if you're abused, like, you tend to grow up and be an abuser.
Right.
Sometimes
True.
the cycle is not typically broken.
Yeah.
Hurt people.
Did y'all see this the other day? This was crazy. So the Dalai Lama?
Yes, I
Did
saw
you
that.
see when he asked the
That
little
is
boy to
so
suck his
gross.
tongue?
Yeah.
No.
So inappropriate.
Yes. It was on camera.
It was on camera. He stuck his tongue. He's like, suck my
He
tongue.
said, "Suck my tongue."
The Dalai Lama?
I was
Yeah.
like, hold up. What? Am I
And
in
then-
the
and then
Twilight
nothing's
Zone?
happens.
Nothing has
That's the
happened.
crazy part.
They put out an official statement apologizing, saying he was playing. First, little boy did kiss him, right? If I pull the video up, little boy kissed him first, and then he said, "Suck my tongue."
That's weird.
A little boy.
That's weird.
And I'm like, if this was caught on camera, because there's people around, can you imagine what's not on camera?
Yeah.
Private.
Does it ever make you wonder, like biblical times and things like that, where it would be like really young girls that they would marry, and they would be like older men, like 60s, 70s,
What are you
multiple
talking about?
wives?
Old times. That happens now.
I mean, I know, but that it was like normal then.
I guess it was.
And I
normal
don't
then.
know, over the time we decided it wasn't normal and that should stop. But I just feel like is it like an old mentality that they feel like it's okay for me to mess around with this 16-year-old, 15-year-old?
Have you not noticed that it's typically like when, like R. Kelly, right? He finally got time.
What he had coming to him.
Messing with the little young girls and stuff. You'll notice, and even like Jeffrey Epstein and all them, right? It all came to a head. But why is it that these men that mess with little boys, how come that nothing ever actually comes to fruition?
I don't
with
think
that?
those boys are coming forward
Even
and actually
if it's
pressing
notorious
charges.
and there's been charges. Like, how are they able to get away with it? Like,
I think because that's why a lot of women don't come forward as well, because of all the things you're going to have to do for you actually to find justice. Like,
Yeah.
be on a stand,
The actual
be open to
conviction
public
rate,
criticism, go to
yeah.
court,
Because they're
be confronted with your
so-
abuser. All of those things, I think, especially for men, the stigma is it's like shameful if you were molested as a male.
Yeah.
And it's already shameful
I mean,
for
that's
women. It's
all.
already
It is.
shameful for women. And think about how many women don't come forward because of the emotional side of being
Yeah.
taken advantage of in that way. And I think in the society is how we put men, like, you're supposed to be the pillar, you're supposed to be the leader. I think it's just men are just not as willing to come forward with
but
their
I
story.
think that's why these older men, especially the religious ones, keep molesting these little boys because nothing.
I think
comes of
religious
it.
or men in power, even like men in politics. I think it's rampant in there. I really
I
do.
just feel like so many young boys are getting molested, and like we're not really helping them. We're so focused on
I
young
agree.
girls.
It's hard.
I
'cause,
agree.
I mean, honestly, whether
I don't think we
it's
really
male,
help anybody.
Yeah, I think also
'Cause
because
Chris Stokes, like,
when we don't
nothing happened.
Like, not even
Yeah.
talked about, barely talked about.
barely talk about it. In fact, he got, Rasby got ridiculed and felt ashamed.
He did fall to shame.
like
real
people
bad.
jumped on him. Wait a minute, that should be put on Chris Stokes, but it's not. But it's hard. But I think because as a society, I think that when it comes to sex, I think we always see it as this shameful act unless it's within marriage, and I think that we don't want to talk about it. It's almost like keep it in the closet, even though, unfortunately, for a lot of gay men, and that seems to be front and center, and the people are trying to legislate their sex life and what they do behind closed door, but or gay people in general. But I think when it comes to sex, especially because I think we've let religion dictate how we deal with that. That we should be more open when we talk about it, be more honest, and be not seen as this disgusting act, but something that is natural, and that everyone wants to, most people participate in, want to participate in. There's some people who are asexual and have no interest, but I think we're more open in discussing what happens, but it would be better for people.
But that's why I was talking about earlier, like, do you think it's like in biblical times how they used to view sexuality or sex and with younger people? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like just over the course of time, we've pushed it in the corner and made it more of a as you said, shameful thing, even though that is how it was.
The Bible having some freaky stuff going on in there, so I don't know.
In the Bible, they were messing with little.
But that's what exactly.
They were marrying younger and
marrying, like, even like
that all changed.
Look at like the one thing, like even when the country was colonized, and and diaries for women, and those girls were like 14 marrying 45-year-old men.
But also you have to understand
starting to have kids.
Yeah. Back then, the life expectancy was also very short. So you're talking about people, you're not living.
But think about that, even
70s,
so,
80s, 90s. You're talking about 30s, 40s, maybe if you're lucky. In your
but
50s.
now we look at it as like that's so weird, and I do think it's
We
weird.
put in rules,
but yeah, we started putting in rules and regulations because they used to sell their daughters off, literally sell their daughters off, 14 to 15 years old, and marry a 40-year-old man that's probably going to die in a couple of years.
But a part of that is that marriage wasn't seen as something that is done between people who love each other.
It was
marriage
an exchange.
it was about.
It was a transaction.
It was a transaction. That was
and
business.
growing your family name.
Yeah,
that's why they had diaries.
Business. That's you couldn't pass on. Women couldn't inherit land for that. So for you to gain power, two powerful families coming together through marriage, that was whether that's in Europe with the royal families.
So when it was a business transaction, age did not matter.
I don't think that was the most important thing. It was all about, and women were tend to be seen as a burden because it's not like, we can out there doing a whole bunch of stuff to be able to make money on our own. Women were seen as a burden. So you as a father or a parent, I'm going to hurry up and relieve myself of this burden and get you into someone else's
that's what I was
house.
saying. I think just what I'm saying.
It's
like,
a business deal.
Marriage, sexuality, just being with somebody. I think all of that has changed drastically over
for the better.
course
Yes, because decades ago,
millennia.
it was more acceptable. It was okay to have a 14-year-old.
That's what it was. If you hit
Now
19, it was like you were old maid.
Yeah. Right, because back then these girls
1920, like
you were old maid. Because Bridgerton.
No, it's funny
season
because
2, she was like 20 in it or 21, and they were saying like if you don't get married the next year or two, you're going to be considered a spinster.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was just for some reason I decided to rewatch Mona Lisa's Smile. Mm-hmm. I remember all those girls were at that Wellesley College, but they were like, and then Julia Roberts was a teacher teaching them modern history, and to see them talk about, this is just in the 50s, where like you went to college, got a full-on degree, and then they did nothing with it. What's the point of even going to college if you're just gonna be like,
to make you feel warm and fuzzy, like, oh, we allowed you to be educated.
Yeah,
right.
You're welcome.
And one of the students,
go sit down and raise those kids.
Yeah. One of the students, she was really smart. She wanted to be a lawyer. And they're like, they only accept 2 women a year into their law school. And one of the positions was specifically for a woman from this particular college. It was a women's college. And I was just like, man, this was in the 50s. Like, the story took place late 50s. So I'm like, my mother was born in 1957. And I realized, wow, one generation ago, this was their life.
Mm-hmm. But just think about it. You think about your grandparents and great-grandparents. They were having kids at 14.
Yeah.
So clearly it was okay back then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it was natural. It was normal.
Yes.
That was the norm.
Yeah.
At that time.
But also back then, didn't have a lot of choice when it comes to birth control either. So I think that kind of changed. That shifts people too.
That too.
There's just so many different.
Birth control was illegal any type. I mean, whether it's the pill, the diet, whatever.
Well, it looks like we're heading back that way.
Exactly. All that stuff was illegal. This was in the 50s. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like when
that is crazy.
Things change, we're given more choices.
Which is funny because I feel like men are the ones that push that pill down people's throats.
I from
my experience, I feel like men are the ones that are the ones that are all about the morning after pill, they're ready to shove it down your throat. I'll pay for it. Let me take it to the store right now before you go home. Hold on, let me go ahead and take it right now in front of me. Like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But they're trying to ban it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
But you know what? It's funny. It's mostly Republicans that are pushing that, but they're the same ones.
They're the ones trying to push it down your throat.
The same ones. As soon as their mistress get pregnant, where can I get you to go get this abortion?
They'll find a loophole because they also know that they have the ability they have the means to get to what they need when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Certain people don't. So, but
yeah.
Either way,
they know the rules don't apply to them.
I think with Marques Houston, like I said, I think all of this is just him trying to cover up his pedophilia, even though I don't even know if, and now you talk about bringing Chris Stokes into it. It could be where he saved the girl. I don't know, but I'm saying you're trying to deflect on the fact that you were with a young girl.
But I feel like we should tell them what we found out. After doing a little bit more research on the break, we found out that girl was actually with Chris Stokes when she was very young.
Allegedly. Okay, so the girl was reported missing. His wife was reported missing at the age of 15. And then supposedly he quote unquote adopted her, but they can't find the papers. Yeah. But she does have posts where she was calling Chris Stokes dad and saying that blood is not the only thing that can make somebody your dad. He's her father figure. He's at the wedding. I think he's the person that walked her down the aisle.
Which to me, this whole thing makes me think now, like,
and if he groomed Marques Houston, it could have been something where Marcus felt like he was saved. Like it could be something where the girl was with. Because, like I said, she was reported missing. But I thought she did not come into the spotlight 12. Again until she was 18 years old.
Okay, we need to.
She was. I think they met her. I think he met her when she was 12 to 13. I don't think they actually. And like I said, it could have been something where he was texting her here and there. But when you're 13. Talking,
if that little girl was
talking
involved with Chris Stokes,
talking is being together.
She's been through a lot if she was with Chris Stokes.
Probably, she's probably seen a lot, which is again the grooming part. Yeah. Marcus was also molested, so he probably has some kinks of his own.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to this whole situation, like I said, as soon as that popped up, and it was due to that tweet that she had, and people started doing the math, they'd be like, this doesn't make any sense. Thus, he did that interview and really honestly just digged himself an even bigger hole where people are looking at him side eye. I feel like this is definitely a situation where he groomed her. I feel like maybe they did have sexual relations before she was of age. I still think their relationship is inappropriate.
100%.
And so at the end of the day, I feel like what will happen is that eventually one day she will mature enough and hopefully be free.
And speak out on her story.
Because
Because at this point now, I feel like we should go ahead and do a little... I want to figure out, because I know with Razby, it was like a lot of covered stories. He's the problem. He's mental health issues. He's this, he's that, which, to your point, is one of the reasons why men don't come forward.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
We cannot miss another week.
We won't, guys. We won't.
We have too much to talk about.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on the platform you're listening on, and leave us a review.
We want to support local businesses, so if you'd like us to shout out your business, or if you have a topic suggestion, or even questions for our QA section, we want to hear from you. So reach out to us at letmefinish@gmail.com.
You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at letmefinish. Don't forget that the E in me is the number 3. You can find me at newjillianwhodis on Instagram. Stacy, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Mrs. Cams01. I'm also on TikTok, Mrs. Cams01. MRSKAMS01.
And Janice, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Uniquely Janice, and Facebook and TikTok, I'm just Janice Houston.
Okay. See you next week.
See you next week.
See you guys then.